you are not here for yourself, you are here for somebody else. If you start just change that perspective, that mindset, I think everything changes, be it any of the gender or any of the person you're interacting with. Most important thing for me is that what value I'm giving to my son. That is the most important thing. When whatever reaction or response which is coming from me, I'm very conscious about what he is getting from me, and that is going to be creating his future. So it is very very important. I think it's very natural, it's very organically which happens. Like, even if I'm talking in this platform today, I can say all the positives, but then subconsciously you have also been growing up in that kind of family where you have seen those things where men do not accept, when women are strong, and they just kind of, they want to always show their stronger side of all the men. That's the tendency which I have always seen. I have grown up in a male dominance family where male chauvinism is something which they are always proud of, and it is very very important that you always think from contribution point of view, that what you are giving to your manager or your team member. So if that kind of thinking is there, then I don't think there is a pressure. It's just that of, it will happen with us subconsciously. Since you have the stereotype, it will keep on popping up, again and again. But then you have to tell yourself that this is not about any gender. It's important that you don't think about what is normal, what is not normal, what is I'm coming from a different background. No, it doesn't matter. What matters is what choice of word which you are using, and the person who is feeling. So you have to always be mindful about the expressions which are changing.
Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to my show, Men's Talk Town. And as I keep inviting guests from various professions, various backgrounds, I have another eminent personality with me, a very dear friend of mine, Mr. Divesh Soni. Hi, Devesh.
Hi Sonali, thank you for that
Hi.
good
Yeah.
introduction.
And yeah, thanks for being here on the show. And we've been planning this, conversation for a while, but it was not happening for some reason or the other. And I'm glad that finally we made it.
I'm
Yes,
so honored. Thank you so much for the invitation.
pleasure is mine. Pleasure is mine. Thank you. So I'm quickly going to introduce Devesh. So Devesh Soni, L&D Professional, 15 years of experience in corporate. He is a certified trainer, coach, a Six Sigma Black Belt, and Insight Discovery Practitioner. His personal brand is Purposegenie. It's very interesting to know, which means to create magic with your purpose for you and others. Devesh's purpose is to empower middle managers to unlock their potentials with purpose so that they can support and contribute towards economic and sustainable growth. That is something really wonderful, Devesh, and I think it's very different, I would say. So please, quickly, if you can tell us about your life journey, it would
Thank you,
be
Sonali. Thank
nice.
you for that introduction. I think so. Let me just start from my. Let me just go to a past of mine, and then start from there. That I just want to connect. Just wanted to connect that how and how did I reach here? What I'm doing right now. So I came from a very humble background, and a very small town from Bihar, and my father had a vision that we are three siblings. My elder brother, I am the younger one, and then I have a younger sister. My father had a vision that my elder brother will be doctor and I will be engineer. That's like that was one of the things which was common with many of the parents in that era. I was supposed to be engineer, and my father sent me to, after my schooling, he sent me to Kota to prepare for IIT JEE. I had a lot of friends there. I did play a lot of cricket in Kota, and my score was like out of 1 lakh, and I did not even think that I will go to IIT, so I did not get any of the good college to enter into any of the engineering college. But still, my father always wanted me to continue with being an engineer, a software engineer. But I did not want to do. I did not want to follow others, so I just wanted to do something unique. And at that moment, there was something unique came into market called engineering in fashion technology. I did not know what exactly is that, but I just wanted to do something unique, and I convinced my father. Like, it was very difficult to convince, but I did convince my father. And then he allowed me. I went to the engineering college. I came out of that. didn't have any job. Then I struggled a lot to find a job. I found a job in one of the factory, very less salary. First salary, I remember I stood in the line to get that one. So my father was not happy with that. 2 years I worked in the factory. I just did not give up. I just thought that what I have that is my choice. So let me take that journey ahead. But after 2 years, I just realized that I'm not. I should not be here. I need to go a little bit. I deserve a little better life. So I went for one of the interview where I just saw there was a there were two set of people. One was, so I belong to textile area, like garment area. Okay, in that sector, and National Institute of Fashion Technology is like a premium institute where that's the most premium category. So when I went for the interview, I saw two set of people, Nifty and non-Niftian. And Niftian was like very easy interview and a very different set of bracket of salary, almost double of what we were getting. And we had a very tough interview, and there was no chance of getting into that. I decided that moment that let me try that. I want to go to NIFT, and if I don't get almost, in the top rank, so that I can get the best college, I will not go ahead with this one. So I tried. I got that. Then I got NIFT Delhi. I got admission there. After that, there was no looking back. But then when I joined the corporate, it was a very different sector. So I was working in the quality department, and almost for 12 years I worked in the quality department. And then COVID happened. When COVID happened, I kind of realized that this is not something I wanted to do. I am more inclined towards human side of the business, and I started doing some of the learning on that, did some certifications, and kind of it validated that okay, this is what I want to do. And then I started blogging. I think around 2021 I started blogging. I created my website, did my first blog, and then I started working on that. That started a different journey altogether. And the way it happened is, when I started doing those blogging and the post on the social media, in the same company, I had a discussion with my HR, and they asked me that you seem to be interested towards HR in the people side. Why don't you go for it? I said, if there's any opportunity, why not? And my passion for learning and development was such that then they also realized that, and there was an opportunity. I gave the interview. So now everything is like little bit synced, that before what I was doing 9 to 5 was very different from out of the work timing, but now it is very much aligned. And this is what even I want to tell, give the message to people that what you want to do, align your everything towards that. That's very, very important. Don't let your passion just fade away with your age. It is important that first of all, about it, and then start working around it. So I'm still in the journey, but still I wanted to do that, and I'm doing those things. So I'm happy about it. I'm very grateful about it. That's about my journey. And so I'm working in Tesco as a L&D professional, but you know that I'm part of PSAI, and then I'm also author of the book. So I'm doing all those things out of passion, but then my work and my personal passion is a little bit, I'm just trying to align both the things together.
So it's really very, great to know about your journey, that you come from a very humble background and that you have struggled a lot to achieve where you are. So one question that comes to my mind, it could be a bit personal, but let me know if I've misunderstood or if I'm wrong. That when you said that as you have a younger sister and two brothers, and you categorically mentioned your father had a vision of he becoming a doctor and you becoming an engineer. So what about your sister? Was there any mention of her or any vision for her?
That's a very, very good question. If I remember well, my father he was most attached to my sister than us, and we used to get a lot of whacking from him, but he never ever even shouted at my sister. Okay, he loved her a lot, but then on the contrary, he did not have any vision for my sister, because of although my father was like he was 9th sibling in his family, and he was the only one who moved out of that small town to get the education, and then he got a government job and all those things. But then still those stereotypes and those things were always there in his mind, and he thought, "Log kya sochenge?" And I think that thing was always in the mind, that at that moment, educating your, I mean, giving those education for the daughters was not that important. It was only meant so that you can get her married to a better family. That was the only intention to do that. But then gradually it was, I think it improved, because when we got educated, we convinced our father that this is also important, and then we got our sister out from that place. She did her MBA from Jaipur. She started working in a company called Manpower, and then she got married. So yeah, that was the journey.
Oh
And
wow.
and thank you for bringing that up. That, yeah, I mean, I
I
think,
mean, I find this very fascinating and very positive. That yes, as you mentioned very rightly, that maybe as our parents' generation or the earlier generation was not so much inclined for whatever reason, for their upbringing or whatever, that your sister was not asked, or maybe she was not given much importance in education, but you as brothers took that step and you initiated it, and then she finally completed her studies. I think this is fantastic, and this sets an example, I think, for a lot of people, that I'm sure a lot of parents don't want negative things for their child, but maybe because of the mindset they don't go towards that. And I think it's really brilliant because
we cannot blame them also, because the kind of background which where they are coming from. Just educating your any of the child was like a big deal for at that moment of time. And you cannot, because of your income bracket, and the kind of salary which you're getting, even educating two son was not very easy at that moment. And he chose the one of the best school for both of the son. He could not think of the daughter, but then it was our responsibility that
but
let's
I
go back.
love that fact, yes,
Yeah,
that you as brothers, both of you, or maybe one of you, or whoever, both
yeah.
of you have taken that responsibility and got her forward in her career. That's really good, and I think it's a
Good that you asked the question. I think I love that question. You picked that up, because I was thinking that this should come up.
okay, great. So now that you have moved ahead from one place to the other, and you have seen a bit of more world, and now you work in corporate. So how do you find women around you at workplace? I mean, be it the dressing sense, be it the way they speak, or be it the way you interact with them. So do you find the difference while you worked at the factory earlier and now? And how is it like?
I have been very, very fortunate, I would say, working with some of the great leaders as a woman in my all the organization. Right from the factory, also when I was there, I remember we had a like we because that was the starting of the career. All of us were young, and few of the colleague which I had was so strong that managing that line. So we were working in the factory, so we call it a line, where there are a lot of workers. They sit, and we have to manage one line to get those product out of the line, and then managing those efficiency and all those things. I remember one of our friend called Pragati. She was so very strong that I mean, even we could not manage it in that way. So when I mean, obviously the family background was very different, but when we got out and started working with those kind of people, the mindset started changing. That no, what we were thinking about the girls, that they will have, I mean, they cannot manage this kind of role. But I saw people who are like very, very strong, and they could manage much better than us. And then from that time until today, when I am working, so today is a very different scenario. We have a target that in my company, that we will have uh, 35% of women in the leadership role. And when I see around, when we have a common huddle in the organization, I see all the women are sitting at the top, and they just fall. So and they are really strong, and they are driving the business in a very, very different way, because in after COVID, empathy is something which has been very, very important for driving the business. And who else than women can bring that empathy, in the organization? And we have that. We always had that, and we are. I think we are much ahead than any of the organization in terms of understanding people and bringing that diversity and inclusion within the company. And we are doing really great. So I'm really proud of being part of the organization where I'm working.
So, Devish, what I want to ask you is, See, as an individual, you might be very, open to these thoughts, and you have also supported your sister or the female colleagues around you. But uh, when at workplace or otherwise, you see that men are not at times very comfortable with women bosses, or as you mentioned, the lady in the factory who was working with you, she was more ahead of you all, or very, bold in her work. So, do you think that people around take it very positively? And if not, then why not? I mean, not all take it negatively, but there are sometimes, men who are not able to accept it. So, what do you think?
I think it's very natural. It's very organically which happens. Like even if I'm talking in this platform today, I can say all the positives, but then subconsciously you have also been growing up in that kind of family where you have seen those things where men do not accept, when women are strong and they just kind of, they want to always show their stronger side of all the men. That's the tendency which I have always seen. I have grown up in a male dominance family where male chauvinism is something which they are always proud of, and I have seen that. So subconsciously, somewhere even I am like that. Sometimes it comes naturally to me, but then I have to tell myself that this is not right. At least after education, I know that this is right, this is wrong. Even if it comes subconsciously, I have to tell myself that this is not right. So if I see my colleagues around, whether in factory or in the current company, because there are many people who are still struggling about knowing themselves, that where it is coming from. You have to understand that where it is coming from. It is not your. I would not say that that's their. We can't blame them. We can't say that that's their problem. It is coming very naturally. It's just that you need to understand more about it. You need to interact, and you need to have that acceptance. That acceptance is very, very important, that the way it is happening around. And I think the company where I'm working now today, that acceptance by force is there, because you have your lady boss. You can't change that, obviously. So you have to accept that, and then you have to learn that how do you manage your lady boss. So you have to understand those things. But if that is not there, then I think for me, working in the L&D and people team, I do talk to people and do say that maybe, if you're thinking that it's your problem, it's not. It's important that you understand, first of all, that where it is coming from, and try to remove that, because that's very, very important. We are in a very different era. You just can't show that you are strong just because you're a man. It will not work for sure.
I think what is one beautiful point you have brought out here is what I understand is men at times are reacting also without knowing. Like as you said, they need to understand their own self, why it is happening. Is it the background? Is it education? It is the circumstances? Is it there some incidents which has happened in past which has hurt their ego? Something could be there which at times they don't pay attention, and maybe that needs definitely self-awareness, as you beautifully said, and it's very important. So this is one of the most important point I think you have highlighted, apart from upbringing and other aspects which is mostly neglected, because we generally categorize, general categorization is there.
Right. Yeah.
Men are like this and women are like this.
Yeah. So I mean, those stereotypes has always been there, and we get it from some of the societies and everything. But then we need to understand, we need to think about it, and we need to be also, like what I said, that even if I have written a book, I learn a lot about all this, the way we behave, and everything about psychological area. But then still you have that tendency that you react because of your subconscious mind, the learning which you had before. So it is important that you try to understand yourself, be aware of what you're doing, and then slowly, gradually, I think it should be okay. Because now I think one of the most important thing for me is that what value I'm giving to my son. That is the most important thing. When whatever reaction or response which is coming from me, I'm very conscious about what he is getting from me, and that is going to be creating his future. So it is very, very important.
You don't have to sit and tell them. They observe their surroundings, their parents, and all. Okay, so here one more question that comes to my mind is when we talk of stereotypes, or like for men, I want to ask this, that men have a lot of pressure at times also as we speak, that okay, uh, we have a lot of women empowerment scenarios and all. So, do you think that men feel the pressure of behaving always, or do they also have this thing in mind that okay, I have a female boss now, so I should now what, a boss needs to be a boss. Like in defense, we say a Fauji is a Fauji, a soldier is a soldier.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
The enemy doesn't differentiate you're a female or a male. When you
Correct.
have to fight, you have to fight.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when you are in a certain chair, in a certain position, the decisions matter. So is there, do you think that at times men also undergo this pressure of being very conscious of their behavior or their thoughts?
I mean, it's a very, very good question which you're asking, and it again goes back to your subconscious mind and the stereotype which you have taken from your childhood. And awareness will be again, it will be a very, very important point to understand about the way you're behaving and why you're behaving that way. And once that happens, then you start getting comfortable. It doesn't matter that your boss is a man or woman. It doesn't matter. It's just that what kind of relationship which you are looking at with your manager, that is more important, irrespective of gender. We have to think about that, how do I manage. So if suppose I am a manager, I talk about middle manager, and I just feel that when you have two different sides of yourself, when you manage your upline or you manage your bottom, it doesn't matter that who is what gender. What matters most importantly, that what kind of experience which you are giving to other people, right from they come around. I mean, when they interact with you, when they talk to you, and whatever kind of communication which is happening around you. So what kind of experience which you are having with your boss. And then it is not only about thinking, when you think about your boss irrespective of the gender, it is very, very important that you always think from contribution point of view, that what you are giving to your manager or your team member. So if that kind of thinking is there, then I don't think there is a pressure. It's just that of, it will happen with us subconsciously. Since you have the stereotype, it will keep on popping up, again and again. But then you have to tell yourself that this is not about any gender. This is about the main purpose of working in an organization is that there is an outcome which we are looking at. That's a common purpose which me and my boss, my team member, everybody is working together to find that solution or to create that particular solution for the customer, whoever is the customer. So we have to, if the purpose is there in the mind that why we are working together, I don't think that gender thing will ever come around, because I'm working with my female boss. I don't think we ever, I think I don't ever think about that whether she's female or male, doesn't matter at all.
Okay, so here I just want to ask you one thing. Like now that we speak about male gents, and that they come from different background. Now I am considering that when you start working in a company, there are many boys, like like you have come through a certain background. They would be struggling, that we don't know their parents background, they could be illiterate, they could be from a lower middle class family, and these guys really struggle to come up. So now they have become professionals. They come to city, they start working, and it's a cultural shock for them. Now what happens is the females around, they expect that they should behave in a certain manner, and these people do not know probably at times, or it is not acceptable to them, or it is a cultural shock to them. So do you think that corporates can instill a counseling or an open discussion forum, or certain kind of I don't know what to call it probably, but a department where these things are discussed and people are made aware of? This is a certain corporate etiquette we follow, and here females are also working. So,
That's a great question, Sonali. I think what you are saying is, of course, I mean, every human. It is not about. Uh, uh, Again, I mentioned about gender. It is about every human has a very different background, very different experience, very different kind of thinking and emotion which they are going through at that time.
No, I mean, why I said this particular, sorry, I'm interrupting you. Why I said this in particular because the boys who have stayed in city and they have been seen the urbanization or urban life, they are used to these moving around, having female friends or in their group or working with them. Especially those who come from, the rural areas, for them it could be a cultural shock, is what my thought is.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, it happens. I mean, for them, it is a cultural shock, and when they come to the organization, there is a huge gap which they see the way they wanted to be treated, and they're not treated by other people because they think that is normal. For them, it is not normal. For the organization, it is very important that we need to understand about a boundary, which is very important, a common boundary for everyone. Like, for example, uh, if I do any kind of joke with you, for me, it is a normal joke, but for you, it is not normal because you did not feel uh, good about that joke. So, in our one of the policy which we talk about in DNI, there is something called banter. Okay, so banter is a kind of joke which you do just to make a humorous environment around. But then, if you're targeting somebody and that person is not feeling good, then that banter has to be stopped at that moment of time. The only thing which is important is about that person, that how that person is feeling, not about your intention, not about your saying, but how that person is feeling. So you have to always be mindful about, as a human, as a person, as an employee of the company, it is important that you don't think about what is normal, what is not normal, what is I'm coming from a different background. No, it doesn't matter. What matters is what choice of word which you are using and the person who is feeling. So you have to always be mindful about the expressions which are changing. You always get that, right? You can't say कि I did not get it. I mean, it was normal for me. मुझे समझ नहीं आया कि उसको कैसा feel होगा. I could not understand. You can't say that. As a human, as a mature person, you can always feel that how other person is feeling. The moment you feel that there is a different feeling altogether with that person, immediately stop, acknowledge, and if possible, say sorry. That's very, very important. If that happens, I think it will be okay.
Yes, I think, and also in this scenario, I feel open communication is required.
Correct.
Because just assuming and making faces or I didn't like it, so I just shrug and go is doesn't indicate things. Probably speaking upfront and in clear words, saying no, I don't like this, or even the male can say that the kind of jokes you do, I'm not comfortable, I don't like it. So I think that being open is in the communication is important.
This just reminds me one of the story which I have, in one of the company. I will not take the name, but I was working in that company, and I think it was first or second week. I was all. I mean, I was in the probation period. I kept my laptop open, and I went to the washroom. Somebody used my laptop and sent an email to a girl saying that, can we go for a movie tonight? Only me and you, something like that. Okay.
Oh.
That girl, she came from a very different background. The girl who was, so I knew that girl who has sent emails. She was from a very different background. She came from Delhi and she was like very smart. But the girl who who received the email, she did not took it well and she started crying. Now, I know that this is not my problem because my laptop was used and I didn't know that somebody will use my laptop. But the moment I realized that she needs to, hear sorry from me or maybe somebody else, I went and I spoke to her, said that I'm really sorry for what you are feeling. But then I think it is not me who has done that. I think somebody else has done that. But since you are getting from my laptop, it is my responsibility to say sorry to you. And I did that. And I think that conversation made her feel comfortable, irrespective of what happened to other people. And then after that, there was a lot of different things which happened in the company. But then I think for me, I feel satisfied because I say sorry to her because I feel the responsibility.
I think here first you taking the initiative of saying sorry is a good thing, and maybe it could be your rapport or the bonding which she had or she knew you the way you are.
Correct.
Because practically I don't know how to prove unless there is a recording or something that someone else is sending the email, it's a straight case. I mean, who's going to believe that you haven't sent it?
Yeah,
So, in I mean, I'm saying in a general scenario,
correct.
unless that girl really knows the way, the kind of person you are, and probably she has accepted it. So, yes, these cases, I think these are very dicey and
Exactly. I was talking about banter. So this was again a banter which crossed the line, and somebody did not feel well. So it is important that we acknowledge and we just go and say sorry. I mean,
so I think these kind of pranks are very could be very harmful and not they don't go in good taste. So others also should be mindful of it, I believe.
exactly, exactly.
So one last question: what is it one message you would like to give to teenage boys vis-a-vis growing up and the way they perceive women?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fine. Feeling attracted to someone is okay. Feeling uh, all those feelings are there in the stage of adolescence and in that age group. But as behavioral part, what message you would give so that we
You
create a
mean
safer
only
space?
boys or everyone?
Especially, I mean, especially boys, but even if you want to share for both the genders, teenage group, I mean to say. So
I think
the idea here is that as they grow up into a man, we do not want to see any untoward incidences happening towards female, and to create a safer space, it comes from the mindset of a person.
hmm, hmm, hmm,
So that's
hmm.
the reason I said, but you're free to answer the way you want it.
I think for me, I will answer it the way I behave, the way I want to see people around. That's very important. I think it is in this era. It is very important that we don't even think about gender. It should be very very normal that somebody is talking to you is a male or female. That it doesn't matter. There's one relationship which we have, which we go through. That's a very different thing. But apart from that, everything has to be normalized. Everything has to be like my wife today. She is my wife. She is mother of my child, but she's also my friend. She's also my friend in the sense that I can say whatever I want to say. She can say whatever she wants to tell me, and I will listen and she will listen. We will understand each other, and obviously there will be difference of opinion. That will always be there, but then that's a relationship, right? I mean, you have to you have to build that relationship with those small things which are
You
happening
agree
around.
to
Sometimes it
disagree.
is, yeah. So agreement disagreement will always be there, but then we need to have a common purpose here also within the family, within the group, within the community. It is very important that we have to look at that what we are looking at from the relationship. For the young generation, I think for both male and female, it is important that we give respect, we give space to each other, and we don't judge people. Ajkal it is very 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 common that the moment we are talking, we start judging, and that's a human nature also that we do judge people. But if you just pull yourself out of that and think that I need to support, I need to contribute from my side. So when I define a purpose statement, there are three very important elements into that which I want to speak here, and that is for everyone. I think irrespective of any gender, irrespective of any age group, there are three important three important elements into that. Number one is role. What role you are playing? So when you talk about friend, so what is your role as a friend? What do you want to be as a friend? What kind of experience which you want to give to your friend? That is the role. Second is the contribution. As a human, we are social animals and we always want to contribute. We feel happy when we do contribute to anyone. You give 1 rupee coin or maybe 10 rupee coin to any of the beggar on the road, and you go and eat golgappa, your favorite thing at the roadside. You will feel more happier when somebody who receives money from you and they smile in front of you. You'll always feel, because subconsciously we know that we have done a good thing and you feel happy about it. So contribution is a huge part that when you do, it can be as small as listening to somebody, it can be as small as talking to someone, um, or maybe sometime just be silently there for people, just accept whatever is there. So those kind of small contribution is also very important. And the third very important thing to sustain those contribution is the impact. that what kind of impact which you're creating. And it is there in all the relationship. Like my friend or my sister or my mother or my wife, what kind of impact I'm giving to them, what I'm creating, what they're getting, and what they will be because of me. So those kind of thing has to be there in the mind whenever you do have any of the relationship. So I think role contribution is very important. And in one line, if I have to define, I think I will say that always think beyond yourself. It is not about you. You are not here for yourself. You are here for somebody else. If you start just change that perspective, that mindset, I think everything changes. Be it any of the gender or any of the person you're interacting with.
So thank you so much, Davis. I think you have brought out a lot of beautiful points, be it upbringing, be it self-awareness, be it open communication, be it pulling out of that judgmental part. I think a lot of wonderful points you have shared, and I'm sure people are going to, really like listening to this what you have said. So to all the viewers who would like to connect with Devesh, I'm going to share his social media links along with the podcast. Please do get in touch with him if you want to know your purpose in life. And he's an excellent person to interact with. So I'm really glad that you came on the show and you shared your views. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thanks a
very
lot.
much, Molly. I think it was wonderful talking to you, and I good that when we talk about this kind of topic, you sometimes you just don't think about it, but then when I was thinking about this podcast, I kind of remembered everyone, all the women in my life who has really contributed to my life, and that is the kind of gratitude, gratefulness that I had in my mind when I was thinking about them. So I think thanking to you, and it is a wonderful concept which you have created. To talk about those things is very important. Good message. I think it's a lot of good vibration which you are creating with your podcast. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.